Today is Thursday, October 31st, and you are listening to episode number 12 of the Doghouse podcast.
From DoghouseSystems.com, this is the Doghouse podcast.
All right, we'd like to welcome everybody back. Happy Halloween to everyone. Happy Halloween, Abby and Lorenzo.
Happy Halloween.
And you are all dressed up for the occasion today.
I am. I got my Baby Yoda ears on.
That's very cool.
I also have bat earrings on.
You are all ready for the occasion.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So are y'all doing anything special tonight?
Just handing out candy. But my sister is at a wedding this weekend, and they're dressing up for the rehearsal.
Nice.
They're going to be Austin Powers, Dr. Evil, and then their little kiddo is going to be Mini-Me.
That is very, very cool. Love it. Anything special with you tonight?
No, we did a pumpkin carving over the weekend with part of the family, and last weekend with the other part of the family. Well, I guess I'll submit a picture of just my painted pumpkin. I didn't get permission to share anyone else's, so we'll have that in the show notes.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Yeah, most definitely. We'll have to do that. We are actually going to be humbugging it tonight. We are going to leave the house. Teresa has to work. So she is dressed up for the occasion. She is one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Which one?
I believe it's Donatello.
Nice.
Yep.
It's the best one.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she was excited about that. Hopefully she'll have some pictures of the whole ICU floor. They all got dressed up for the occasion. So pretty cool. So because of the fact she doesn't get home till later, and so we're just going to go meet her and have dinner. So that'll be
nice.
There'll be more than enough kids taken care of in our neighborhood with everybody else handing out candy. So
there you go.
We'll skip on it this time. Let's go ahead and get into Bark Bits. Abby, you've got a really good one to start with.
Mm-hmm. A really good feel-good story.
Yeah.
Is when I saw this story, I was like, this makes me feel so nice.
Yeah.
Caleb Alpine was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and he basically posted on social media that he is a die-hard Borderlands fan, and one of his wishes was to see Borderlands 4 before it was released. So everyone kind of, you know how social media works. It garnered attention, and everyone was reposting, and everyone was sharing his story and all that stuff. And so it actually caught the attention of Randy Pitchford, the co-founder of Gearbox Software, who creates Borderlands.
Nice.
He tweeted out that they were going to make it happen.
That is so cool.
So since then, Gearbox's CEO has reached out, and they are planning to fly him to their headquarters to showcase him the game.
That is very, very cool. I'm so glad they're doing that for Caleb, and I hope Caleb has, just an incredible time. I know. I bet he will. I bet they'll do it right, and really happy that they're making that happen. Switching gears a little bit, there's some news about NVIDIA creating ARM-based PC processors for consumers that's going to launch next year, and I guess even going into 2026. But this is future stuff. But, when NVIDIA gets into the news, and especially on kind of this portion of the processing side of things, I think that's pretty interesting and really cool going into next year. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We have a Tom's Hardware article that ends up being, like you said, more speculation than anything else. But NVIDIA isn't a stranger to the CPU business. So on the server side, they have their Grace platform, which they then combine with their GPUs to form the Grace Hopper supercomputer building block platform, basically. And actually, the Nintendo Switch runs a custom SoC called the Tegra X1 platform. That's a ARM CPU and a low-power NVIDIA GPU. And rumor is the Switch 2, or whatever it's called, will be an iteration on that. So an NVIDIA ARM design CPU and then an NVIDIA GPU. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that works, especially with things like Qualcomm can actually play games on a Qualcomm Windows laptop.
Yeah.
So if you swap out the Qualcomm GPU for an NVIDIA GPU, pretty much just profit there in terms of gaming ability. So yeah, I'd be interested to see how that works out when it's released.
Well, good deal. Well, let's go ahead and get into tech treats. We have talked about this game, Squirrel with a Gun, for quite some time. And finally, with things being as busy as they are, it's hard to break away from work and, get into some gaming time. But we kind of forced the issue a couple weeks ago, or about a week ago or so. And I think Abby is actually very happy that she did finally have the time to jump into it. So what are your thoughts of the game? And let me preface this by saying this is kind of like an early review. So we'll probably over a couple segments be able to talk a little bit more about the game.
I'm going to preface this with, I'm not much of a gamer. This is the first game I've played on a PC. So please don't expect a lot from me.
And, I'm glad it's a situation that, rather than having somebody that games all the time, I think this is a really cool perspective of somebody that's done more of handheld gaming, not so much on the PC side of things. So this was a little different. Now, granted, we did set up a Logitech controller to make things a little easier. And I think that game
that made it so much better for me to have the controller.
I can't imagine I could imagine playing with keyboard and mouse, but I think it lends itself better to a controller.
I really liked the game. The story kind of starts off with you as, the squirrel getting into a bunker, and you're trying to collect this golden acorn. So you have to go around and kind of problem solve. It doesn't really give you a lot of direction, so it kind of plops you in to the bunker, and then you kind of have to figure it out as you go along. And then after you pick up that first golden acorn, then you acquire the gun to get out of the bunker.
And that's when the fun really starts.
It's really interesting. To get out of the bunker, you have to go through a couple of doors, and then it's like a lava pit.
That's right.
So you have to not fall in the lava. But every time that you shoot the gun, you got the recoil. So your poor squirrel is just flying backwards.
I saw that. That was amazing. So you fell in a couple of times, I take it.
I did. I fell in a lot. Halfway through, they give you various, you can purchase, you collect acorns along with your golden acorns, and you can purchase weapons to upgrade. And they give you spots where you can refill your ammunition, so you're not I'm out of luck because I'm out of ammo. So, but it was fun.
So at this point, you've escaped the bunker, and that essentially was the open-ended tutorial. Like you said, it didn't give you much direction. So you but the game was developed in a way that you pretty much get it figured out.
Oh yeah. So as soon as you get out of the first room, you figure out what works and what doesn't work.
Gotcha.
For you as what type of gamer you are. So once you get outside, it's more open to where you have different mini challenges to go through along with the plot.
Okay. So I guess the game is somewhat open-ended. You're not really stuck on rails forcing you to go to one spot to the next.
No, it's different mini challenges to collect golden acorns, but you do still have the main plot of you're trying to take down these people who don't want you to get the golden acorns.
Gotcha. The bad guys.
The bad guys.
So what kind of guns have you acquired so far?
A submachine gun.
Oh, nice.
A shotgun. I believe there's a sawed-off shotgun, and I found out I could throw bombs.
Oh, wow. Wow. So do the different guns have different levels of recoil, or is it pretty much all the same? Or
different levels of recoil and different levels of ammunition. So the shotgun, you get the 2, and that one has a lot more recoil than the submachine gun that has 10, 12 bullets. So
once you got out of the bunker, because you learned kind of the hard way the first time, because you didn't have a lot of time your first day you played it, so you quit the game, hopped back in, realized you had to start all over essentially. But
yeah, you've to get out of the bunker, and it
then
saves the game.
So are you able to save at any given point once you're out there?
Yeah, once you're in the neighborhood, they have I would describe them as bird feeders full of acorns. And basically, you drop the gun and you hop up, and it saves the game in whatever slot you're playing in. So
awesome. Do you spin on the bird feeder?
You do. But I learned after coming back the third day that sometimes you have to redo some of the stuff that you've done. So I've had to re-kill some of the agents to get what I needed to be able to continue to play.
Gotcha. So up to this point, you've probably got a couple hours into the game, so you'll be continuing the game, and maybe we'll get this all the way through. So far, how would you rate this?
Like an 8 or a 9.
From the couple of times I went by when you were playing, it looked like you were thoroughly enjoying it. So
yeah,
that's cool.
So
it's holding up to expectations are being met then.
Yeah, I was expecting chaos, and that's what I got.
Perfect. Well, we will have you kind of do some follow-ups on future episodes once you've had some more time to play, so that'll be good. Well, before we get into the epic free games of the week, for some of our listeners, they may have heard that World of Warcraft, they have a new mount that they are putting up for sale. And over time, they've done this where, you could maybe get a $15 to $30 mount. This one, though, is for $90. That's a lot of money.
That is an entire game and a half. A lot of money for it. I don't play WoW. But does that...
Do you know what it is?
What
is the mount? And two, does it give you anything other than just the cosmetic?
So, yes.
Okay.
So the answer to that is yes. So it's a mount that they actually came out in 2018 with. And it was really difficult to get this mount because you didn't purchase it outright with cash. You would have to get it through the auction house. And I believe it was about 5 million gold to be able to get it. And it was like that back in the day, that was really difficult to be able to do. So this was a 20th anniversary themed mount. In fact, the name of it is Traders Gilded Brutosaur. And it looks like a brontosaur, dinosaur, really cool looking. And it has this harness that's encrusted with gems that represent World of Warcraft expansions, celebrating the 20th anniversary. So really cool looking, but it did have some functionality in it as well, in the sense that when you were on this mount, you could be riding along, but still have access to the auction house and also to your mail. Wow. So it was incredibly popular. People really wanted it. And the amount that it cost back then to be able to do it, it was costing people even more depending on how they were trying to acquire all this gold. So by putting it out there for $90, it technically is a deal that people are going to be getting into. Yeah. So on the outsiders looking in, they're like, there's just no way. Mm-hmm. But for people that are really into the game, when you run the numbers and everything, it actually isn't too bad of a deal, I suppose. To each their own. And for some people, I think they'd be real interested in it.
It's only available till January 6th.
Exactly. So they're putting this on as a limited time deal. So it'll be interesting to see how many people get into this. So this gets me thinking, as we get closer to Christmas time, maybe we will actually do this as a giveaway. And maybe we'll get the word out with Scott Johnson so that more folks will be aware of it. It'd be kind of a nice little Christmas time gift.
Nice. Okay.
So
look forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of games, Epic Games, what do you have for us this week?
I got 2. I got Witch It. It is a multiplayer hide and seek game. Hunters are tasked with seeking hidden witches that blend in with the environment, trust no furnishing, grocery, or utensil.
We need to download that. And we could all try doing this sometime.
I feel like that would be chaos with our entire team.
I think maybe if we get this on Fraps, get it video capture, we could have some fun with that. Maybe put it up on YouTube. We'll have some fun with that. Maybe
we'll get Waldo panicking.
Yeah, exactly. That's the idea.
Either way. The other game of the week is Ghostwire Tokyo. Tokyo's population has vanished, and deadly supernatural forces prowl the streets. Hone your otherworldly abilities to unravel the truth behind the disappearances and save the city.
Sounds good. So, and they're free.
And they're free.
All right. Well, thank you, Abby. Thanks again for your review.
Not a problem.
And let's go ahead and get into Pack Talk. So we have a couple of questions this week. And this one actually was brought up from an existing customer of ours where they were reaching out to us last week saying that they noticed that their chassis was getting louder. And they were asking support, what could he do specifically to try to make it quieter?
Yeah, no, great question. So first and foremost, double check that all of your fans are spinning and make sure there's nothing in the fan. So a wire, dust, dirt, debris, what have you. Second thing is just give your PC a nice clean with compressed air. Don't use a vacuum. Don't use a feather duster. Just compressed air, blow it out, remove as much dust and debris as possible. And then if it's still too loud, aside from reapplying thermal paste if it's quite a few years old, because it does dry out, it's a liquid or a paste for most part. You can also get quieter fans. So we choose quiet fans, but we don't, load you down with $200 worth of fan in your, $1,500 system.
Right.
So there are quieter fans out there from Lights of Noctua, Be Quiet. So those are things to check. Check for obstruction, clean it out, and then if that doesn't work, look at if your system is cooling properly for your thermal paste. And then there are always quieter fans if you're willing to spend a little bit more.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, it with the fans over time, the bearings could go out, and that may be possibly the source of noise. The other thing is most of the chassis that we have, they do have that pull-out tray, filters. So if those are clogged up, that could definitely impede airflow, and that's why you might be hearing things ramping up.
Right.
So good points. And once again, if you decide to use compressed air, don't get the fan spinning really fast.
Yeah, that's right. Make sure your system's off when you clean it. Don't do it with your system on.
Another good point. Make sure you're grounded as well. All these things. So if anybody has any very specific questions they'd like to ask, reach out to us and we'd be happy to answer those. And then we have another question that also came up recently. And actually, this question comes up a lot, just here and there over time. But are third-party antivirus programs necessary, or is Windows Defender, which is already built into Windows, is that good enough?
Yeah, cutting straight to the point, not to cut into the profits of Norton and McAfee and Malwarebytes. Just run Windows Defender, keep a good set of backups, and just practice safe browsing.
Yeah.
Don't click on every link you see. If you especially if something comes into your inbox, whether it's text, email, a link you see on a website, don't just click on it. Hover your mouse over it and you can actually see the URL that's going to resolve if you hover over that. If it's a domain, a website that you don't recognize, don't click on it. Go directly to the domain you're trying to access and find it that way instead.
Good point.
But yeah, backups are way better than paying up front for protection when you can just browse safely. But if it makes you feel better, go ahead and support those companies. But I personally run Windows Defender. I think all of us do.
Yeah.
Keep backups, and that's the advice that I usually give.
I think it's really good advice. So let's say somebody just, for whatever reason, they want to have Norton running on their system. In that situation, would you recommend disabling Microsoft Defender?
So I believe when you install Norton, it will disable
automatically.
Defender.
Okay.
Right. You just want to make sure it's turned off. And Defender is more than just antivirus. It also has ransomware protection, file protection, core and memory isolation as well built in. And I believe you lose all of those with Norton. They have their own versions, but those having hooks directly into the Windows kernel, I would trust more than a third-party application that, could mess with those core functions of Windows. Acronis also has ransomware protection as well, so you'll need to turn that off. That is not automatically disabled when you install the third-party operating system, but it runs just fine alongside the Windows kernel hooks for that same mechanism. Yeah.
Oh, great point. Well, thank you. And that covers our questions for this week. This actually covers our episode for this week. And again, we're recording a day earlier, but want to get this out. This will probably get published out tomorrow. But I hope everybody does have a great Halloween night tonight. Hope you have lots of fun handing out candy.
Oh, I will.
And
I can't wait to see what all the little costumes are.
Yep, that'll be good.
Who the most popular costume is.
We will have to let everybody know on the next podcast.
Definitely will.
Awesome. Well, everybody stay safe out there, and we will be back. And I think this is probably a good time to say it too. Based on our workload right now, and just with the amount of news coming in, I think we are going to, moving forward, make this into a bi-weekly show. That being said, if there's something big that does jump out there that's worth us hopping on, there's nothing stopping us from doing that. But from a schedule standpoint, we will be doing it bi-weekly. And again, if anybody wants to reach out to us with questions, and I forgot that part, Abby, could you go through the different ways that folks can reach out to us?
You can email us at podcast@doghousesystems.com. You can give us a call at 214-810-4347, or you can DM us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and X at Doghouse Systems.
Thank you so much.
Problem.
Put you on the spot.
I should have this memorized by now.
It's a lot of info. But anyways, folks, if you guys would like to reach out to us, don't hesitate to do so. And also, just a quick request, if you all are enjoying the podcast, do us a favor, leave us a review on wherever you get your podcast from, be it Apple Podcast or, again, anywhere that you get that. We would greatly appreciate it.
Hit that subscribe button.
And hit the subscribe button. So you guys take care.
I don't actually know if it's a subscribe button or not, but
why not? If it is, it is. So please do. And you all take care, and we will be back for the next episode in a couple weeks.
Toodaloo.